good morning, good evening, good afternoon to people from with different countries, from with different time zones, because I know what usually people from different countries looking for our podcast. My name is Tatiana Koval, and this is podcast Happy at Work. In this podcast, we are discussing the best international professionals, the very important topics of how to build people-centered organization, how to build and promote employer brand, how to build corporate culture. And today we meet with one of the best international and Brazilian professional, Angélica Madalosso. I have a dream to meet Angélica first online because I'm looking for Angélica in LinkedIn, and I have a strong recommendation to all employer brand professionals to follow her on LinkedIn because he shared a lot of very useful and interesting information about employer branding. And this will be a topic of our podcast today. Good morning, Angélica.
Good morning. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you so much for the invitation. I hope you have a good time, and it's a pleasure to share with a global community what we are doing here in the employer branding marketing in Brazil.
Angélica, my first questions as usual, please, could you tell a little bit about you, about your professional way, about your experience? I think it helps people to understand you more and really follow you.
Oh, of course, of course. So I am Angélica Madalosso. Now I am the CEO and founder of I Love My Job in Brazil. My formation includes a degree in public relations, and I am specialized in communication plan and crisis management. Before I become an entrepreneur, that is my career now. My most challenge today is to be a leader of a business. I had the opportunity to work in different business segments, such as retail companies, industry, tech companies, services, infrastructure, which all have granted me a varied experience as a professional. And it also helped me to realize that I work well in this dynamic environment. So become an entrepreneur was natural and a needed process in my career. I am also the co-author of the Employer Branding Expert, a book I am very proud of because I was responsible for putting into paper the candidate journey, which started even before they is hired by the company, and giving a good news the first time that I am speaking for the community that we are translating the book. So in the probably in July or August, the book will be able in English for the global community understand better what we are doing here for the employer branding marketing in Brazil. And in this book, we share also the best practices in the marketing here, the cases that were conducted by I Love My Job and leading by I Love My Job team, and also cases from our teachers, because we have university that helps people to understand and to learn about employer branding in Brazil. But now let me tell you a bit about I Love My Job. We are not a conventional company. We position our business as an employer branding hub. And what it doesn't mean. We have 3 different business units. The first one is responsible for creating content and surveying about employer branding, because in Brazil, we have a maturity level different from when you look for European marketing and US marketing. We are in a step before. So it's very important to educate the marketing to make the companies invest more in employer branding. We also have the university. So the courses, the Employer Branding Expert certification that inspired the book, is one of the most recognized courses of employer branding in Brazil. And the third unit is in charge of corporative solutions. that we provide consulting and agency services specialized in employer branding management. Here we have helped companies such as Johnson & Johnson, Raizen, Mondelez, Softplan, Unico, Cosan, so some multinationals as well. So that sometimes our work is cascaded for other countries. So it's a pleasure to lead our way of work for other countries as well.
Angélica, thank you for so interesting introduction. I want to ask my first question. I want to ask you about current labor market and maybe in Brazil, and how this is influence on employer branding. What now is in the market, and because I think a lot of people know what Brazil is a big country, with big companies, but not so many people really know what's is this market now, what's happening in this market and how it influences employer brand.
Before I talk the marketing, I think you brought something very important, that we are in a very huge country. So not is what I'm going to say is not something about the moment, but it's something that is a challenge that many brands face here, that is the brand awareness, because there is companies that were founded in the south of Brazil, after they need to grow to the northeast, so it's a completely different market. So it's something very common we hear from our clients, challenges that I need to make my employer branding to be more desired in another region. So it is always it's something very, very common here. But now talking about the talent marketing, what I can say, now I am always often saying that in the pandemic times, we lived 10 years into. So the digital transformation that is low in that before the pandemic times become very faster in the last years. Another point is that people is living longer and remain in the job market longer. Yesterday, I found an article from BlackRock CEO that was talking about that managing with the older professionals is something that will be more challenging that we face with the ESG aspects. That is something so important as ESG aspects, because when we have people staying for more time inside the companies, we also have the youngest people entering inside the company and starting to doing their jobs. And something that we are facing here is that the dream of my generation here in Brazil was to be a manager, was to be an entrepreneur. How I said, I am an entrepreneur. This is something that what a dream to me. But now when we look to the youngest people, their dreams is totally different. The Generation Z has the dream to improve the world. It's something that they talk a lot, but without getting stressed. They are even in the beginning of their careers, they are asking for their managers more work-life balance. But also we will have people that, when we talk about oldest people, we know that they don't have the flexible mindset to accept that. So we'll grow a lot the conflict between the generation inside the companies, and we'll have to know faster how to lead with this situation. Another point is a new way of doing things. With the arrival of new softwares, with the return to the office, keeping some people working asynchronous, because it's not some. For example, I Love My Job is a company that is located in Porto Alegre, and we have our offices. So who lives in our city is invited to go to the offices, but we have 10 employees that are in another states in Brazil. So how will you lead with this team? So when we look for I Love My Job, there is a very small company, but when we apply this situation for a company that have 5,000 employees, is something very difficult to lead. And so what it impact? We start to prioritizing the soft skills with more weight, mainly the resilience and the speed learning capacity. So it's very important. These two, all the CEOs that I talk, when I ask them what we were looking for in the professional that will help you to get your goals, all of them will answer resilience and the speed capacity of learning. And so what you can imagine is that if everybody is looking for these skills, we know that we will have a lack of professionals, and you have to develop faster this skill in these professionals. And this is one of the reasons that the talent market is so competitive in Brazil.
May I ask you about trends in employer branding? I know what it's really saturated market, because there are a lot of companies who invested in it. For me, it was very interesting when I saw on LinkedIn the community, EB community. There are more than 20,000 participants. It's one of the biggest employer branding community which I saw before for one particular country. What is the trends in this area in promotion, employer brand, in employee experience? Or what could you tell what companies in Brazil should invest their attention, their time, maybe their money in this year?
Very nice. And what I realize, the trends here in Brazil, what we are most working now is the EVP revitalization. I can say that 5 of the 10 companies that looking for I Love My Job are asking us to helping to rebuild their EVP or to create a EVP, because we have a lot of conventional companies that thinks EVP as the salary, as the benefits, but not connected with the intangible values. That is the trend that we used to say. It is the human-centric EVP that build employee value proposal connected with intangible values, because it's directly connected with the wishes of the talents in the market. There is a survey that says 60% of Brazilian employees are available to change their jobs, even if they are employed now, if they find a job that is more connected with their values and that to offer better work-life balance. So the challenge it is, how can I sell employee a brand, employer brand that is history and narrative that can convince the people that they will find a working environment more flexible, more happier, more with more collaboration, and is what they are looking for. And you have to help the companies and to teach them how to sell this kind of intangible attributes. And after the EVP revitalization, we are seeing a lot of employer brand using influencer marketing. And like when we talk, another thing that we are always being asked is to create a employer brand ambassador program that helps the employees to talk about the history of them inside that companies, but not only for the employees of the company in general. We are developing programs focused on recruiters. So how we can help, how you can change the mindset of the recruiters, that they are not only job postings on the LinkedIn, but is there responsible to count as well the employer branding position inside the social media. When we look for a recruiter today, it's very common they have a very huge number of followers. And how when we look, they are only posting the job ads, the job posting, and they not are talking about what does it mean to work inside of that company. So programs focus on recruiters. Another thing that we are facing is using the influencer marketing with professionals influencers. Like last year, we launched Sicredi's EVP, and they wanted that the specific community knows their EVP. So we make influencer marketing strategy. So with disability people, and we hired Andrea Schwartz, that is very influencer people in the disabilities people in Brazil, to make her count and how is to work as people that has a disability inside Sicredi. So not only focus on the employees are very important, but I am seeing a lot of companies investing in specific professional influencer people. And another thing is to focus on the leadership. When we talk about, I think this concept can help you to convince your organization to invest, is to talk about that trend that is called in B2B market thought leaderships, that are talking that the leadership has to inspire people inside the social media, talking about the company. So we are realizing a growing investment of the companies to make their leader talk in a form very strategic about their employer branding inside the social media. And here in Brazil, I think it's something very, very common, and I think abroad as well, but Instagram is a channel very, very important here. And a lot of companies are creating their special profile, and these are some challenges and something that we are facing here.
You're talking about Instagram and about LinkedIn, and may I ask you what the channels you use for promotion new clients' employer brand? What is your recommendation? What companies should do this year? Maybe which channels they should choose, and also what they should do in this challenge to be more interactive, what they should talk about. Should they react on some events in the country, or should they understand what their community needs, and maybe asking their community about it? Maybe also some offline channels could work so their community. Could you tell a little bit, maybe also from a different target audience? I understand that they have different target audience, but it's very interesting. What is your approach to manage the different channels and communication strategy of the companies?
Very nice. So, Tatiana, in Brazil, without a doubt, without any doubt, it's LinkedIn. Why I say LinkedIn? If you don't have $1, $1, and my recommendation, we always start your employer branding initiative for LinkedIn, because It's very common when we think about LinkedIn, that is something that we work only for business roles and for tech roles. But when we apply our surveys in very different kinds of careers here in Brazil, it's always something that always appear when they speak with channels that they looking for a new job. Even if you have operational and factoring employees, they will say in some moment LinkedIn. So it's something that can work very well for a lot of different environments. And also LinkedIn can help not only for your employer brand, but also to position your business as a brand, as a whole brand. And what we should recommend to talk about in LinkedIn is to communicate your culture, is to talk about the way that things are done inside your company. For example, is we recommend you talk about your services. We recommend you talk about your products, but why you don't bring your employees to talk about your product, to talk how they build their products and how they make these services? So you can connect marketing, external marketing, and employer branding, showing the proud of to make something happen inside that company. And Instagram, how I said, is a very good channel, and because it's why is something that can work. When we talk about LinkedIn in Brazil, you don't have so many budget for employer branding. And when we talk about paid media, I think we are getting better in this. For example, in I Love My Job, when we launched the company in 2021, we didn't have any clients that invested in paid media. And now we have a significant number of clients that invest. And one of the channels that is easier to start a paid media process and to prove the value is Instagram, because it's cheaper than LinkedIn, and it's cheaper than offline media that is more expensive. And you can prove that you put in a small money, you can have a good return of investment. So it's very common. We start on investing on Instagram, and after we prove the value, you can get more money to make paid media on LinkedIn, on job boards, and something like that. But also in Brazil, the job boards and the review sites such as Glassdoor and Indeed are also frequently mentioned by the people, especially when they are considering to accept a job. So here in Brazil, it's very common. People ask us to make better their Glassdoor profiles and Indeed profiles, but I have to remember all the time that in Brazil we have a job board, very famous. There is InfoJobs, and it's very common our clients forget it because it's not so trendy and like Glassdoor, because is very knowledge in the employer branding community. But InfoJobs is very common. We found that our clients has a number bigger of evaluations and reviews bad reviews inside this channel than in Glassdoor. So don't forget, if you are managing your employer branding in Brazil, to look for InfoJob as well.
Mm-hmm. If we talk about career sites, is it popular to launch their own career sites for the companies in Brazil?
Now I think people is concerned about this this channel, but I think they used to see a career site as a page of their institutional sites. But how, when you look to the global community and when you look for the biggest employer branding company that has the better position, the employer branding position, they own career site, for example, website, career page. so I think people is concerned about to make that work with us space inside the institution. So they are doing that. But I think we have the opportunity to make people think as a career page, as a own, and especially a career page. For example, in our clients here, we have around 30 clients here in Brazil, and only 3 of them has their own they're specifically careerpay.com, so raizingcareers.com. That's something that allows us to build a SEO strategy, to build spaces, to monitoring the user experience, and to create a special experience for the talents. It's an opportunity.
Mm-hmm. I have one additional question for you about young generation. I'm a head of jury of a graduate award. This is the charter award for CIS countries, and today they have the day when they get the awards to the winners. We will do it online. And I have one question. Working with graduates is very, very popular in CIS countries. Especially because they have a shortage of young generation, and also because I think what you work with young generation, it helps you to build your employer brand for the future. As you know, when previously there was a partner of Universum, I think you know the Universum, one of the global employer branding company, and they also works a lot with young generation. I want to ask about Brazil. Is it popular to work the young generation in Brazil with students in universities? Maybe do you have any particular tools, channels for this audience? Or it's just commonly work with them like with professional audience?
I think it's something that is very connected even for the entrance programs. I think the most structured companies in Brazil have important entrance programs, and they look strategically for that. We have some tools in Brazil to help companies with this connection with the universities. We have a supplier that helps us that is called Empower, and they have a software that connected brand companies with professors from universities to make some partnership and to show their content in some classes of these professors. So it's a very nice initiative. And what we have, Raizing is one of our clients, and they have the internship league that is very they empower their internship to act as a brand ambassador by training them, by bringing them to career fairs and to career events. And I think other things that is growing fast in Brazil is the education recruiting. So even in the for young professionals, so they offer some education opportunity to make them learn about the company after they can hire them. This is something that is very common in the tech marketing as well.
My next question is about employee experience. I remember the times in employer branding when they have a discussion, should we work with it or should we work only with employer branding as only with communication? In 2016, I had meeting with my colleagues in university in Singapore, and we discussed the situation, and my colleague said, it's so pity what the companies prefer invest only in communications, not in employee experience and candidate experience. now I see what the situation really changed, and I see what in Brazilian market, the employee and candidate experience management become very, very popular. Could you tell a little bit about it? What trends in this sphere? Is it really popular for companies who invest in their employer brand start to work with candidate and employee experience?
I believe that we can't talk about employer branding and can't start a employer branding strategy if you don't look for our candidate and employee experience. Is something that should work together, but they are extremely important for your employer branding to be consistent. When we talk about consistent, we have to think about experience, and the experience is how we interact with the brand touch points. So if you sell EVP proposal, and if we don't find this in the practices and with the things that we live in these touch points, we don't have consistent, and people will be not don't feel confident with our employer brand. And we always have to reflect this experience we are providing has any connection with the brand attributes. I will give some example. If one of your attributes of your employer branding is flexibility, we cannot have a manager who makes micromanages. So we need to have a leadership training that develops this management style in our leader to talk that we are a company that value flexibility. Likewise, if innovation is one of our attributes in our EVP, how can I have a selection process using a slow software? Do you want a brand that will be like that? So we will trust in a brand that say something and do another thing. We don't trust is something that is poor, that we can hire the people, but the people won't stay with you the time you need her to help you to get your goals inside the company.
Mm-hmm. What are the main challenges for you and for HR in Brazil in their work with employer brand management? What do you think about it? What is the main challenges?
I think now the budget, and because it's something that we are how I said before, we have a maturity level bit different between the Europe marketing and US marketing, and this is how we can prove to the C-levels that if you invest in employer branding, is something that you bring you client as well. I think we talk a lot about the impact of employer branding in retail and attract talent, but sometimes we forget that if you have a good employer branding, we will also be a company that is more connected with ESG, because when we take care about our people, we are connected with the social, and ESG is something very important. So the companies who invested in their people are the companies who are more value in the capital market. So it's something that can contribute very well for the valuation of the company. So and to prove these results and to look better for KPIs, and how to prove that our work is impacting their business. And I think we have to work better with another sectors as well. In Brazil, we keep discussing where should the employer brand protection should be, which area they should be. But actually, we have to discuss which is for which area we should work is for the business. If you are an employer branding professional and you don't know which is your goal for your company as a business, you have a problem. And it's very common, we see here, people only think about the problems of the HR sector. But actually, we have to build an employer brand that can work in direction of the business goal. So another thing, in the beginning, we talk about the Brazilian complexity. So we have a huge country with different cultures. And I think brand awareness is something very challenging for it, because the channels are different, the communities are different as well. And I think we should see that employer branding is something that you don't need a very huge effort to start. Why I'm telling that? Because sometimes I see a very small company in Brazil very aware about, oh, I have to build my perfect EVP. But actually, when you have a small company and a company that is starting, if you are a good professional, you have to know the positive points of your company. Why don't we start from there, doing small things to prove the value, and after to think in a structured EVP, you start making better your job description. And it's common. Brazilians prefer to start with a complexity project, but I think to make the complexity project, you should start small.
Mm-hmm. I have two last questions for you, and my question is about artificial intelligence, AI. Is it has any impact on employer brand area in Brazil?
Very nice. I believe that it helps a lot with the production content. Why? Because how we have like, it's very common in Brazil, we have only one professional to take care of the employer branding strategy, or even it's common this professional share their job with internal communication, for example. So is a tool that can help in this speed of the things that happen. Because when we talk about content, for example, if you only post on your Instagram once a week, you know that you are engaged, and your people that you get will be very small number if you have the period and the consistent content. So it's something that can help in this point. But employer branding is extremely humanized strategy. So I see that it will always have to the content needs to be to be reviewed from the professional. So it's not something that you can type down, write about that, but you have to make the adjustment to make that content connected to your strategy. And I also understand that the AI intelligence can help a lot with decision maker, so to analyze the data. So here in I Love My Job, we are using AI tools to help us with diagnosis, because you have to analyze a lot of data. So it's easier to took some insights from surveying result using the tool. So it's faster. And it's important when you talk about employer branding, the speed is very important, because the things are changing all the time. So use the to analyze your data and to make your content and your job faster, I think are good for you. But don't give up to review and to and to make that with your way, I think is very important.
Angélica, my last question for you is this is a common question, so my guess is this, what is your free tips to the people who want to work in the employer branding area in Brazil, or want to promote their employer brand in Brazil? There's three main points, because we discuss different topics in our conversation.
I think now I think you have a huge community. So we have I Love My Job, that is one of the communities. You have another one, ZBB, and I think it is a area that you can find a good content to study now. A good cases that are available in these communities, and you can learn from them. And is different. It's totally different than if you start to work with employer branding 3 or 4 years ago. And now I think the path is easier than before. We have a good books as well in Portuguese, so over than 4. So I Love My Job. We have but we have the people from Cia de Talentos that has a good book, and Bruna Mascarenhas that write her book as well. And but I think it's very important the employer branding professional to connect it with the global marketing. I've been in employer branding day for 2 years, and I think it was an experience important to I think we have things very nice here. I think the creative of Brazilian professionals are something very important, and the agility that we make the things here is something that I think is something that can inspire European and US market. But we see the trends from there, and to bring new ideas for Brazil is very important. And I think it's very important to build a very solid relationship with the market area. I think we need to work together because the brand is only one. Our work is to when institutional marketing is talking with clients, we are only talking about how that brand is as a place to work, but is the same brand. So this connection is a strength. And I think the best cases, for example, we have one famous cases in Brazil that is Vivo, is from Vivo, and they make advertisement in the soap opera of Brazil here about their program that hire women to work in the technical area, and it's very expensive. It's like a Super Bowl in Brazil, and they were able to do that. But they were able to do that because marketing always earn in this action. So the things will be easier if you connected good relationship with the marketing area. And I think the last one is, how I said, start with small. Sicredi is one client that is I think is our most important case here in Brazil. We helped them to become the fourth company, the best better company in Brazil by GPTW last year, and we were working with them for 3 years. And but when we started, they don't have any investment in employer brand, directly in employer brand. But we started with a pilot focus on the tech market, and we proved the value. And after, we were able to build a global EVP for the 50,000 employees that they have. So start small, prove the value, and after you can make your job bigger and more important.
Angélica, thank you very much for everything, because it's so interesting for me. I think we could spend much more time, but it could be difficult for all other people. But I'm absolutely sure and totally recommend it. Follow Angélica Madalosso on LinkedIn.
Yes,
You could find much more interesting information. And this was the podcast Happy at Work. See you again with the best international professionals in the building people-centric organization, employer brand management, and corporate culture management. Thank you, Angélica.
Was a pleasure. Thank you so much, Tatiana.